Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking about The Last of Us Season 2 again, but this time it's different. The article says here, The Last of Us Season 2 must avoid one controversial decision from the games, and it's not Joel. One controversial decision from The Last of Us Part 2 must be avoided in HBO's second season to prevent a difficult storytelling problem. Uh-oh. It looks like they're having trouble with the scripts and all for Season 2. Alright, here we go. The Last of Us Season 2 needs to rethink its storytelling approach to balance Ellie and Abby's perspectives effectively. Both characters' journeys are crucial to Season 2, but the show must avoid isolating Ellie or Abby for too long. By telling Abby and Ellie's story stimulously, The Last of Us Season 2 can avoid the divisive narrative pitfalls of the game. Alright, keep going. Alright, The Last of Us Season 2 will have to manage plenty of continuous moments from its source material, and HBO must avoid repeating one controversial gaming decision after a successful first season. Well, yeah, the first season was good. I mean, sure there were things that weren't accurate to the game, but other than that, it was still a good show. HBO's hit show will return for Season 2, which will be based on the events of Last of Us Part 2, obviously. Despite its strong critical reviews, The Last of Us Part 2 proved to be divisive, containing plenty of moments that split opinions among fans, including the notorious Joel scene that The Last of Us Season 2 will have to deal with. Oh yeah, I remember when I first played the game, my mind was blown for what happened to Joel, but I won't say what happened because, for those who haven't played the game, yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll find out on your own, since the game has been released this year on PS5. So yeah, once you play the game, you'll see for yourself and you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, continuing. While this is undoubtedly the game's most controversial moment, the show won't be able to avoid it. But there is one decision from Part 2 that HBO can steer clear of. Despite the game's high-quality narrative, there is one element of its storytelling that Season 2 would benefit from. Dropping. Players control both Ellie and Abby in The Last of Us Part 2, and while experiencing both of their journeys is crucial to the plot, Naughty Dog's approach to conveying these stories was somewhat divisive, which HBO can try and avoid repeating when the show returns. Okay, well, HBO's going to have to work hard on Season 2 for how they're going to nail this off like they did with the first season. Okay, The Last of Us Season 2 can tell Abby and Ellie's stories one by one. The Last of Us Season 2 has to change the game's approach to telling its story. Alright. Unlike Part 2, The Last of Us Season 2 can't afford to tell Abby and Ellie's stories one by one. While the game starts by blending their story, The Last of Us Part 2 shifts its perspective to tell most of the game through Ellie's perspective before switching back to Abby. Once the game focuses on the Seattle section, the player follows Ellie through days 1 through 3 before taking control of Abby and going back to day 1. While both characters have completely different stories, Ellie's journey directly impacts Abby's, meaning a lot of the suspense has gone from Abby's section. This does work somewhat from a gaming perspective, but given Abby is a divisive character, forcing players to follow her journey for multiple hours while Ellie's story is left on a cliffhanger proved to be controversial. If Season 2 adopts this same storytelling strategy, Ellie will miss several episodes in a row, which could cause backlash from the audience. Oh yeah. Just like how there was backlash over Last of Us Part 2, the game. This is why The Last of Us Season 2 has to change the game's approach to avoid the same problems, as the show could suffer from focusing too heavily on either Ellie or Abby, which could make some viewers switch off. Oh man, this is not going to be good once Season 2 is released. Season 2 still has to include both Abby and Ellie's perspectives. Ellie and Abby's individual perspectives are crucial to The Last of Us Season 2's story. Although Season 2 shouldn't tell their stories one at a time, HBO's The Last of Us still needs to include both Ellie and Abby's perspectives. Naturally, much of the plot will happen through Ellie's eyes, as it did in Season 1, but it is important that Abby also gets her full story, given how controversial she is. Yep, she really is. But I thought she was an interesting character, though. Anyway, continuing on. The Last of Us Season 2 must include Abby's father in the story and showcase why she wanted revenge on Joel in the first place. Well, when I did play Part 2, they pretty much did explain that, like why Abby wanted revenge on Joel in the first place. Anyway, continuing on. Even if the audience doesn't support her, highlighting Abby's motivations is critical to understanding her background and personality. Ellie's blossoming relationship with Dina, flashbacks with Joel, and quest for revenge are all critical aspects that should be included. However, Abby's role in the Wolf member, that's right. Abby's role in the Wolf, friendship with Lev, and history with Owen are equally important, with both characters needing to have their full journeys shown. The show can afford to prioritize Ellie over Abby despite the audience's attachment, and given The Last of Us Season 2 may be split into 2 parts, this gives both characters more time to tell their complete stories while experiencing both the more wholesome moments of their journey, alongside the brutality. Alright. Now, how Season 2 can easily fix The Last of Us Part 2's problem. The Last of Us Season 2 can stimulously tell Ellie and Abby's story. Well, let's see if the show could do that, since now the game, it's really hated. Let's see. Again, let's just see how they'll do it. The Last of Us Season 2 may have a big problem regarding Part 2's story approach, but it also has a simple solution. Rather than splitting Abby and Ellie's journeys, the TV show can tell them alongside one another. HBO doesn't have to dedicate a series of episodes to each character. Instead, it can easily cut between their stories in each episode. This means Seattle Day 1 can be told over the course of a few episodes, switching between Abby and Ellie throughout in order to avoid putting all the focus on one character and isolating the other. Outside the rare exceptions, Season 1 did intend to have an episode focused on a single perspective, meaning the show's pacing would be far better